Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the Event Industry News podcast. I'm your editor at Event Industry News, Adam Parry, and today I'm joined by Enrico Gallorini from GRS. If you don't know GRS, they are a research and strategy firm based in Dubai but operate globally, helping look at what the market looks like from the ever-evolving exhibition and trade show market, as well as many other sectors. Enrico and I recently had a really good meeting, in-depth chat on my last trip out to Dubai, and has also recently launched a book called In Person, which we're going to discuss today. But first of all, Enrico, thank you very much for joining me on this edition of the Event Industry News podcast.
Thank you, Adam. I'm super happy to be here. I'm very grateful. I feel the honor, and I hope I can answer your question.
Absolutely, I'm sure you can. I think the first question is, what inspired the book, mate? What inspired you to put pen to paper and talk about our industry in this way?
But let's put in the real way. So I had the chance to speak with many people in our industry. You know, being a researcher, I had the opportunity to speak with many people. And this is a sort of observatory where many things came to me, and I was able somehow to write it down in the night. Sometimes I wake up and say, oh, that thing is quite interesting. And sometimes it happens that some people ask me what could be the future of our industry, the event industry and everything. And accordingly to my thought, because the future is impossible to somehow to see, it's the only way is try to understand the present and see from the past the trajectories that it comes, and for me was this way that I start to little deep dive, and I became very curious because I discovered many things that I have never had the chance really to deep dive. And speaking with other people, they suggest me, you should write a book. I say, come on, no, me, why me? But then more than one people say to me, these things are interesting, are important. You should put it down. And I start this journey that honestly, it was quite long. It take more than a year and few months, really to try to understand better. And I know that a book is not something so new, cool, and fashion. Podcast or video, it's easier, but help me to take a lot of these thoughts out from my brain, putting in a place and say, okay, now it's there. I can make it them somehow more clear, and I can also evolve my thoughts, because sometimes I was still thinking about the many things that I was reasoning. And so also creating the book was not only an inspiration, was a sort of need. And it was like this, and it was a big relief. I mean, the right.
Listen, I think let's be very honest about it. The format of knowledge in a book will never ever go out of fashion, because while we live in a very fast-paced, digital, information-based society now, we very rarely collect those thoughts and things together in a way that is, the perspective of one individual and many things together. And I think the format also speaks to something that I'm very passionate about, this topic of the forgetting curve, which often we only retain very small percentage of what we actually hear in a podcast or watch on a video, or even hear a speaker think about, say, at an event. And the format of a book means that we've always got it with us, and we can always refer back to it and remind ourselves of what that book said, and even maybe read it over and over again and take a different approach each time, and something different from it each time. So I think that putting those thoughts and those feelings into a book is the best way possible. Plus, who doesn't like anything but taking a book with them on a 7-hour flight across the ocean somewhere, so they've got something interesting to do, rather than watching, I don't know, Indiana Jones for the 75th time on the plane.
That's true.
I'd love to know, before we deep dive into some of the other areas of the book, though, what was your defining moment in the events industry? Do you have an experience, an event throughout your career that was a real aha moment, or something that really, like, now is deeply ingrained in how you feel about the events industry?
But actually, the moment when I decided that was the time really to create a book was exactly when I had this aha moment, that it happened in Las Vegas at the end of 2023, when I had the chance to go to see at the Sphere the concert of the U2. Usually it's not nice to speak about your experience, but that for me was something I say, wow, what is it? It was so immersive, so
Yeah.
big, so strong. I felt so emotional. I cried, I laughed. I was completely immersed on something that I say, wow, this is another level where probably our industry it's going. And yes, that was really the moment when well, I decided to say, yeah, probably it's the time for me to try to understand more why, as a rational person as I think I am, I was so full of emotion, full of things. And from there, I realized that it was because it was an in person experience, a full body, mind, soul moment that then from there I understood and connect many other discovery that I did in my journey to deep dive of this in-person experience. And also the title that is in person, obviously it's the main title, but the subtitle is a journey through the unstoppable evolution of events. Because what we see today, it's a constellation of things. It's a huge number of different elements that we as humanity have somehow created, co-created during many events during the millennia. And so for me, we don't know what would be the next step, but our industry is really evolving, probably not so fast as many other industry, but the evolution it's so important. And again, that allowed me to think that events were really foundational and fundamental at the beginning of humanity, and they are very fundamental pillar of what we are today. They are so important in our world today, even more because of all the things that are happening in this fast changing world. But it will be even more important in the future. So all these things make me really think that our industry is special. And I had this aha moment that was so deep that I decided also to ask my wife and say, listen, I would take some time. Sorry if I would disappear, because trust me, Adam, writing a book, even if you have the help of ChatGPT and all this, for sure, but it's very complicated, much more than I thought. But it became
A labor of
it's,
love, right?
but
Yeah.
it became something like a little mission for me, for
Yeah.
personally, for me to go deeper on how it's possible that I felt like that level. But I discovered that all of us, we felt incredibly full of things when we are in person with other human in a large scale event.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely irreplaceable. And I had a similar experience to you. I didn't go to see U2 at the Sphere. I went to see, I think it's called A Postcard from Mankind, which is their kind of like designed experience to launch the Sphere. And I myself, I've been lucky enough to go to hundreds, if not thousands, of events and gigs and festivals and all of these great things that we have for entertainment purposes and other reasons. But that was the first time that I would say that I felt fully immersed in the experience. So kudos to the organization and the architects and everybody that was involved in creating the sphere. And I really do genuinely think that we're going to see venues of the future replicate that and be dotted around all over the globe, not just in Vegas. I think even the Middle East have got plans, haven't they, to
Yeah, but
bring
apart from that, I think yes, that's the maximum. But I
yeah,
think in the event already today are entering other layer where there it's very clear. So the sense, the smell, the immersing experience. So there are all these things are already happening. That one, it's the next level.
yeah,
But this is the concept that you said, the immersion, the fact that as human we are there.
yeah,
It's a lot.
yeah.
It's a lot.
And I think what events do at the essence of them, I don't know whether you agree with this, is they affect people in a psychological and an emotional way, right? At the essence of what we, when we have an experience at an event, when we meet an old friend, when we discover something new, when we taste amazing food from an organization that's catered for an event or something like that. It's all of this psychological and emotional impact that I think is actually why live and in-person events really had such a big rush back from when post-COVID, because
For
we'd
sure.
been alien for that for such a long time, right?
Yeah, I think that for sure COVID was a huge wake-up call for our species, and it was clear we are social animal. We are social animal. We need it in the past, but we still need today because we are built around that element. And I going to the book, when I really start to understand when there was the first gathering and everything, I realized that we're talking about probably 60,000 years ago, where our species, for some reason, uh, decide to use the brain in a different way from all the other animal. And
Mm.
not me, but many historians say that the secret power of humans is the ability of sharing stories and creating stories, but for a very simple reason. We needed this story because we don't have anything to protect ourselves or to attack. And the moment where the story were shared were the events.
Yeah,
So our ancestors in front of a campfire, they gathered there with the fire that was clickling and the smell of the, I don't know, the hunt and everything. But they gathered there, and in that moment was not as we think today. Even if they were talking about the parents, the family, and other things that we're still doing in the campfire. But that's another story. But in that moment, those gatherings were at the base of our survival, and that need create the ability of our species to understand that those events were much more than just meeting, because and this is the first discovery that I did that is so important in the events today. They became, each event, it's a ritual. So
yeah,
ritual and ritualities are the base of every event. It was in the past and it's today, but in the past, it happens that we gather because of the new moon, because of the seasonality, because of whatever it happened. But that rituality, so that cycle, allowed the people that gathered together to prepare themselves and to make that experience a little tiny better, not in terms of operational point of view, but in terms of sharing a better story and everything. So every time humanity grows a little bit from that first campfire where we gather together, and that rituality is so important today because in many of the events that we know, sometimes the people that are the beneficiaries of the event, they don't even know the name of the event. They know
yeah,
that they gather in Milan for the design week, but probably they don't know that is Salone del Mobile, the name, also because it's in Italian. But the design week, it became not as a brand, but because the people know that once per year, the design people meet there. Or
Yeah.
many other examples in the past, it's really related to this rituality. And we have seen during COVID that the organizer have tried to change the rituality, the dates of the event and everything. But it's impossible because it's not the organizer that organize that date. It's the industry that move around that
Yeah.
specific element where the event is the probably the most important moment for a niche, for a tribe, for a group of fun and everything. But you cannot really believe that you can change the date because that date it's inherited with a lot of other meaning for the people that participate. And for me,
Absolutely.
Adam, the element that you're talking about, the psychological element, for me, I'm using another word, and sometimes in our industry, when I say this, they say, this guy is crazy. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I think that during my research, the second element, apart from the ritual and rituality, it was the spirituality.
Yeah.
The spirituality of the event were fundamental, but is fundamental and will be even more fundamental. And for me, when I'm talking about spirituality, is the sense of belonging. And all of us, me, you, everybody, have experienced those blessing moments where, for example, we are all singing the same song in a concert, and we are there and we say, this is bigger than me. It's not only myself, my body. This is bigger. I belong to something that is incredible. And that's the word spirituality, that then we can use it in different way. And I think for me it's the same in each event, because the spirituality, the sense of belonging, it's also on B2B. So the people of a niche, they do not really only meet to trade. Also, in my steps, this is like the seventh step that happened during the journey of the evolution of the event. But they meet because they want to share. They want to speak with someone that speak the same passion, language. Could be a tribe, could be that we are part of the, I don't know, glass industry.
Yep.
And when we go out for dinner, we can also speak about glasses and everything. But when we attend a B2B event or a conference, we are in the same spiritual element. We belong to that industry. And that's the magic, because it's thanks to that sense of belonging that we share, that we connect, that we co-create together the knowledge. And again, little knowledge with the rituality, the sense of belonging, was the base of human evolution.
I really just want to. You keep mentioning the evolution and thinking about. I think even in the book you say that actually the future actually it lies in the past of the events industry. Do you think there's anything from your research when looking back at historical event practices, maybe even cultural traditions, ancient gathering formats, things like that, that you think maybe we've lost a little bit in the events industry, or anything you'd like to see come back that you thought added was really at the core and the essence of what an event is? You know, I know we can draw on a lot of kind of similarities and parallels and things like that now, but I just wondered if there was anything that you saw and you were like, oh, that would be amazing to see in an event, you know, that in modern times.
Yes, let's say that from my perspective, what I see, we're really going back to humanity,
Mm-hmm.
to uh, again, I'm not saying that trade is not important. No, 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 it's fundamental. But
Yeah.
we are going back to those moments of pure human connection in terms of creating trust. This is something that I think it's really fundamental today, and it's coming back, and it will become even more important in the future, because the world, the events evolve because all around everything is evolving. The world is evolving, And in this historical moment, there are some important trends that are fundamental. One is the hyper isolation.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are alone. We speak, me and you, alone in front of a screen. We commute alone. We travel alone. And we spend the most of our time scrolling down a screen, uh, searching for fulfill a sense of emptiness. This
Yeah.
hyper isolation is also in our offices, in our experience, in our working experience. And yes, you can go again to Starbucks to meet other people and talk about and everything, but you want to go in a place where there are these people, and you go there, and just the fact that you are there, you are part of something. And probably again, it's there that you create this element of chemistry, of human to human in person, that is technically impossible to do like me and you now, because we are missing the breathing
The
the same
connection.
air, and the other thing. The other trend that for me it's fundamental to see and understand that is not only to coming more important in the future, but that would be fundamental that we take care and take the responsibility as an industry, is that we already enter in a world where we are not able through the screen, through our phone and everything, to understand what is true and what is false. Fake news, super advanced AI and everything, soon also for you would be impossible to understand if this person is real me or it's a super trained Enrico Gallorini AI avatar that have seen all my video, all my stuff, and know how to move and everything. And this is a problem. And
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or it's something that is we need to be aware, because I think that only events cannot be faked, and the one-to-one experience where we are, where we feel, where we touch each other, not physically, but we connect our energy and everything, that's the way that we create trust. We are already entering a world where, for example, just to share my thought with my family, with my wife, with my daughter, we have our family password, because I'm sure that it will happen one day, not so far, that I will receive a call from my teenager daughter yelling and something, and I don't know if it's true or not. And I'm not pessimistic about what is going to happen. I'm just saying that the humanity is going that direction, but we, us as an industry, we have this important responsibility to create these events that connect our humanity and keep this co-creation factor alive. Because if we leave everything to the machine and everything, I don't know, it would be a path that I'm not really looking forward to that. But it's also the responsibility of who organize those gatherings to work properly, because it's much more expensive, difficult, and complicated to attend events. So events industry has a responsibility to make those in-person experience the one that you don't want to miss. Because if we are going to miss those, we will live in a world where my avatar with your avatar will do a podcast probably. And it's not if, it's when. And probably it's not
Yeah.
tomorrow, but it's not
It's
too
not
far
far off.
away.
No, it's not too far away at all. And I think you're right, absolutely. In a world where we're all interacting with each other in a digital manner, where actually the biggest thing we're all seeking is authenticity, right? Is something authentic? Is something real? Is this a fake influencer? Is this a fake news story? And all these kinds of things. And actually, the news used to be the trusted source of information, but nobody can really trust that news and that source of information now. I think the other thing that for me is an unseen value in in-person events and attending events is actually the investment that all of those people have made in being somewhere at a certain time, often from hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, to concentrate and focus at the same time. It is actually the most valuable thing anybody can give anybody else is their time and their focus, right?
Yeah.
And technology is amazing. It's allowing us to connect and have this conversation over thousands of miles. But I would have way preferred to have had this conversation in person,
Yes.
in your
And
offices or in another location. And I don't think we can really replace that. And that actually, I think, is what I'm seeing the real value of events is when people understand that I'm giving my time up to be here, you're giving your time up to be here. This is really, really valuable to both of us. We're both invested, we're both concentrating, we're both looking to get something out of this rather than it be a passive kind of like, oh, can we have a quick call, a Zoom call, or can I send you an email on this topic? It's a true value investment. The most precious thing we've got to our names as individuals and as human beings is our time.
yes,
Um,
and you know
and
something I really resonate on this, and again, because I'm a researcher, I need to connect also the methodology that can not only say it's serendipity, the future is good.
yeah,
Okay, but let's talk about seriously about what you're saying, because one of the best way to predict the future, it's not according to me, but according to futurists, is also to study the luxury industry. And luxury in the past used to be able to own a house, a way to move around, then a car, a luxury car, for example, and then to study, to travel, take the first plane. And those are experiences and finding other places. So the luxury at the beginning was just for few people that were able to have a house, a luxury car, a car, and then travel, study. And we see that all of this became common. And I'm not saying that humanity now all have the access to this, but probably, Adam, me and you and the people that are eventually watching this are part of the people that already have all of these elements. If we try to see what is the luxury today, we see that the luxury experience is to be in a retreatment alone, without phone, without computer, without social media and everything. So going back to our body, our spirituality. And for me, the best candidate for the future luxury, it's really the in-person experience. Because as you say, it's so unique, it's so fundamental, it's so difficult and expensive because you have to take a plane, do thousands of miles, take your time away from your family, your kids, take everything and going to an event. Wow, I think our industry, it's already in the luxury industry. We just don't know. But again, I really feel that being with you, it is possible, but I'm not so rich to do it. So the event industry, it's the best candidate to understand what would be the future luxury for the people and then for common, that is to be in person. I also sell this concept to my mother. So when I say we don't meet a lot, but you have to understand all of this. I don't know if it works in the same way. She doesn't really care. But if we think our industry, it's really the luxury of being together that is a lot, is irreplaceable. Probably once per year, I don't know, twice per year,
yeah,
once every 2 years could be. But especially in niches, those moments, as we said before, because of the hyper isolation, we want to be part. Because of this fake news and everything, we need to create our trust. And only there you can feel myself, understand who I am from every angle, what I eat, what I do, and everything. And again, because it's will be expensive in terms of time, resources, carbon footprint, and everything, we are already in the luxury industry, and we have the best candidate for me for understanding what would be the luxury of the future is the in-person experience, the event industry.
yeah, absolutely. And actually creating our events as luxury experience should be the goal as well, right? Because then people aren't necessarily having their own choice of they're spending time with the family in the Maldives, or they're in Dubai, or they're in South Africa, or wherever this is. There should be no compromise on that experience as well. We should value people's time to create them a fantastic experience around all the education and all the connection and all that, because that amplifies the overall experience as well,
And
doesn't
that
it?
experience, because of this little personal growth that we have every time that we have that experience, any experience, we grow a little bit. It's obvious what I'm saying, but if you think it's because of those gathering that an industry just do a little step in terms of innovation, in terms of co-creation, in terms of whatever it is, or my daughter that go to her first event, when she go there, she's the best version of herself. So she prepare herself and everything. She's happy to be there with her friends and everything. So the in-person experience, it's a little growth
Yep.
experience from a personal point of view. And the luxury is really to understand that that experience have to be also memorable.
Yep.
And memorable mean could be everything, but it's important that that thing, because it's so luxury, give inside of our brain something that is deep and resonate with us. So the memorability of an experience would become the reason why we come back to that experience. And it doesn't mean that have to be luxury, perfect. No, I think have to be authentic, honest. And that's difficult. That's difficult because to
Yeah.
be authentic and honest, you cannot be driven by pure profit or pure money making. That's a result.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
goal is to co-create. The goal is to put together a niche that really prepare for a better future, the humanity. That's a big mission. So authenticity have to be from there. Profit is not
Yeah.
yeah, it's a mission, but it's not the one that I think we as an industry should follow. It will arrive.
No, and it comes down to probably one of the other second most, valuable things that we have as society and as humans, isn't it? It's trust, right? Trust is such a valuable thing, and events do a fantastic job of helping to foster, maintain, and build that trust. Um, I think that's one of the things that's so amazing about the events industry, is that it will allow you to do that so quickly and maintain and keep that trust there between business and industry and companies and trading partners and research partners and things like that. It's the longer the distance or the more disconnected we are from somebody, the trust doesn't necessarily erode, but it's not strengthened, it's not maintained in the same way as meeting in person and seeing the whites of each other's eyes, and discussing all of the things outside of the event as well, the family, the dog, the holidays, and all these kinds of things that also fosters that trust. um I think it would probably be remiss of us not, as part of this podcast, maybe the final third of it, to talk about the future, right? Okay. um I'm going to ask you to peer into your crystal ball now, but hopefully some of your experience in research and strategy kind of well prepares you to tell people what you think is coming down the road for the events industry. There's lots of things that have affected the events industry over the past 10 years, economically, geopolitically, even some of that now, pandemics and other things. And it's so hard to say this is what's going to happen next, because so many things can change the direction that we are sailing in at any moment. But going through and writing this book, do you think is there a second book on the horizon, the
No,
future of the events
no,
industry,
but
Enrico?
I don't think I can say no. But I already also speaking with you with other about this content. I'm saying this is should be, but no, it was already enough. So I'm still saying, wow, I wrote a book. How's that possible? And wow, I'm doing a podcast with Adam Parry about my book. Wow, that's amazing. So it's already enough. And but Going about the future, I think what I see, what I think is that because of the rise of machine and because of the AI and everything, we will have events that are able to help us as human to be very efficient in that in-person experiences. So matchmaking and predictive matchmaking, it's part of this. The other element for sure is that memorability experience need to be part of the content that is given to the beneficiaries of any event. So I think that our body is full of sensors. So again, the sense, the smell, the music. I see that is already arriving, but in the near future, I really believe that this immersive or more immersive experience curated from technological point of view that allowed us to be more efficient during an event, and the other side feeling better because of the, I don't know, from the smell, the senses, and other things, just also very basic stuff. But as human, compared to the robots, we are sometimes get tired. So it's important to have a place to sit. Some stupid things, but probably in the future, those events need to rethink about human as a human with all our threat and strength. So we need to balance these things, and it's already happening. I'm not saying that I have seen many shows with their own perfume, but I've seen one, and it's interesting.
What a great way to every time you use that scent to be reminded of that event and that experience,
But
though,
you know,
right?
it is quite fascinating because I had the chance to speak with an important neuroscientist that say to me that, for example, the smell is the deepest part of our ancient brain, and there are some smells that are very important, but then also there are some smells that for some people has a lot of meaning compared to the other. I think, give me an example. The smell of burned
I can give you
plastic.
a couple. I can give you a couple that spring to my mind. The smell of rain coming. I think we can, as
Yeah.
humans, we can smell when there's rain coming. We can smell cold. I
Mhm.
can remember my dad being fascinated by the fact that he could smell how cold it was on us as children as we came back in from playing outside. So there are some really, really visceral smells that you wouldn't be able to describe it almost, but
But then there
they
are
are.
also some other smell that, for example, for me and you, we say, what is it? But the smell of plastic burned, I don't know how to say in English,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
rubber, for me and you say, but for people that work in that industry, that smell has a
yeah,
completely different meaning. Again, the sense of belonging, the sense of
yeah.
being part of something. You say, wow, is this crazy? No, 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 no. Is again going back to the basic of why events exist, because we need to be part of a community. And a community sometimes has also similar smell or similar lights or similar I don't know, food or a sensor factor when you go to a fashion show, how many areas you really touch those elements, that touching experience, it's a lot for someone that is part of the fashion industry. And
Yeah.
again, probably these are the elements from the human to human experience that I see in the future will become part of that memorable experience.
I agree. I think everything that we are moving towards as a society is for us to have a very unique and personalized experience in everything we do, right? Hotels are trying to do this, retail companies are trying to do this, brands are trying to do this. So can showcase that they know you and understand you and really get you, which then has that amazing brand affinity with that organization or that company because you feel belonging to that organization. And I think we should we should see in the near distant future this for the events industry, that I understand Enrico. And when he comes to my event, maybe there's just a something little special waiting for him in his hotel room that is a memory from the last event or his favorite snack or something like that. And then when he comes to the event, does he have to be served the same meal as everybody else? Or can we tailor that to him because he has preferences at the moment that means he's more vegetarian or he loves steak or whatever that is? And I think, we as an events industry should learn from other sectors, but I think technology will allow us
Absolutely.
to understand and create those experiences a little bit better for people, maybe even in the moment, right? Maybe just even going, it looks like Enrico isn't very happy at the moment at the event. Maybe we should do something to excite him or to make him, to get him back in the room, kind of thing. And I think
And
that
Adam,
will enhance the industry.
one of the most important thing that for me in our industry, we are somehow in a big trap, is that, for example, we are still using the same words that we used to use decades ago. We have the visitors, for example, I'm talking about exhibition in particular. So we have the visitors, and then we have the exhibitors, and the exhibitors are the ones that have to pay because they sell, and the visitor is the guy that is jumping around, doesn't know what to do, and that day take a flight in first class from Bangalore to go to Frankfurt. It's just strange. But we have this, and then we have the buyers. Yeah, but the visitors are the buyers. Then the delegate. So all of this, it's part of something bigger that our industry should try to realize. And it's not me, but my favorite philosopher, Wittgenstein, said that the limit of my world is the limit of my words. To think about the event of the future, we need to be able also to exit from the trap of the words that we are still using for something that is different. Again, the evolution is to use also new words. For example, probably you have not kept this, but I always say about events, I'm talking about beneficiaries. Beneficiaries could be for any event, guests, visitors, attendees, sponsors, exhibitors, cities, industries, association, beneficiaries, just to say a new word to think about a new world of event. Because when you are in a trap and you use the same way of thinking that you used in the past, it's really difficult to think about the future. So this is for me where, as an industry, we should try, I don't know, to hire some, I don't know, poets or someone that give us new words for what we're doing. Because what we have done for millennia is the growth of humanity. And today we're talking about trust, we're talking about spirituality, we're talking about hyper-isolation and everything, but we're still using the same words, square meters. I don't know. It seems to me that we are in a little trap. How to exit, I don't know. But as a researcher, I say that's a trap.
The
We
way
need
to
to
exit,
deep dive.
the way to exit from those things. Oh, sorry, Enrico, I didn't mean to cut across you. But
No.
the way to exit from those things is to have the conversation, right? Have that conversation, communicate. That's what affects change. These ideas that are flowing through from you now will resonate with others, and as they share those with others, they'll resonate with theirs, and that's how big sweeping changes happen. Is somebody plants a seed, waters this idea that we need to be moving in a different direction, we need a different idea, and that's the way that innovation and things evolve all the time, right? The Wright brothers deciding that they thought they could fly, everybody told them they were crazy, and now that's how we literally travel around the globe, and that's what's made us much more of a connected society on a global scale. So we just need to keep talking about these ideas, and people will take inspiration from them and adopt them, I think.
I hope, because again, I think our industry, it's much more than what we are inside of the industry think. And just to tell you, Adam, sometimes for me, probably this is also the reason why I wrote the book, is that I'm around and say, what do you do? I'm CEO of a research company. Oh, wow, congratulations. And in which field? Events. Why? Why? It's the most important industry in the world. It's at the base of the human evolution. It's we gather together in that moment, and that moment create the innovation of an industry, of a niche, and everything. You ask me why? Probably it's because our industry, for some reason, it's given for granted. I don't know, but we are much more important. We were the base of humanity. We are the base of what it is today. And again, going back to what we said before, we're even more important in the future. So we need to be aware that we are a super cool industry, super foundational, fundamental industry.
We are the roots of all industry.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. We underpin, we help support the growth of, the connection of, the development of there is an event for every industry sector or niche or idea or community on this planet, right? Like you say, it's literally woven into our DNA as human beings.
And
And
for me,
even
for
on a person,
example, the exhibition are really the perfect example of this importance, because I always say that exhibition are a real door. So it's a door that you enter where you see the future. Because if you think about all the content, I'm not talking only about the content in the screen, but the content in the booth of each exhibitor is talking about the next edition, the next product, the next services. All the people is talking about the future. So the
yeah,
exhibition, it's a door into the future where the beneficiaries co-create together the future. Because that's the other magic thing. In that collective moment where those niche gather together in the same place in the same time, those people outside, they fight between each other. They are competitor. But in that specific moment, they co-create. It's fantastic. It's a lot. And it's the base of the evolution of everything that we see today. But sometimes, somehow, we're not aware as an industry, and outside, we are the one that create traffic. What? Yeah. Okay. Well, is that the problem? So we are increasing humanity for a little bit every time, and you see about the traffic. And this is also related, for example, to the narrative that our industry should have. That, for example, for me, when we talk about the return on investment of an event, yes, there are the profit, then there is the stand build and everything. And then we talk about the benefit that the city has. Say, okay, yeah, good. Yes, yes, yeah. But our industry create much more than a better 3 days for taxi, Uber, and hotel. We create innovation for that niche that has an
yeah.
impact of billions for humanity. But if we limit ourselves to the scale of the operations, it's really diminishing our job. And going
Yeah.
back to the point that many people say we need to attract new talent, new people in our industry, I think that if we're able to find a new narrative, new words, and making the people aware how important, how big is the mission in the event industry, wow, I'm part of something that create the better healthcare for humanity. I'm part of something that create the better food for tomorrow. I'm part of something that create. So this is the way, going back to the narrative, where we should be able to have this conversation and also exiting from the traps of the past and experiment, because it's a good moment for our industry. So it's now that we should try to do new things.
I couldn't agree more, mate. Enrico, I always find it so fascinating having these conversations with you. I could speak to you for hours. For anybody that's watching this or listening to this back, where can they follow your work? Where can they connect with you? And I think more importantly, where can they get their own copy of In Person from so they can deep dive into this topic even further?
And Adam, this is so funny because many people ask me, where can I find the book? Amazon. But many people really also message me, oh, yes, where can I find the book? Amazon, guys. So Amazon started as a book. So that's easy. The name is In Person. My name is Enrico Gallorini, and it's on Amazon. And obviously, I'm on LinkedIn eventually, and happy, proud, and super honored if someone want to connect with me.
Awesome. Well, we will put a link in the description of the post and this podcast description as well for anybody that wants to go and connect in there. And if you do buy yourself a copy, let Enrico know, reach out to him, tell him what you found inspirational, maybe even challenging on some ideas. What about that, right?
I love
So,
it.
Enrico, thank you very much once again for joining me all the way from Dubai on this special edition of the Event Industry News podcast. I'm pretty sure we'll have you back on very, very soon to talk about this in depth more.
Thank you very much, Adam. Really, really grateful. Again, for me, it's crazy that I'm talking with you about my book. So thank you very much. I feel very honored of your invitation. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
the honor's all mine, mate. The honor's all mine.